Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking to you guys about what you can be doing in your garden right now. I know it's March 10th over here in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I'm getting really antsy about getting things started, but there's a certain way to do that, and then there's other things that aren't going to make it. As you can tell right in front of you, this is going to be my rosemary. This is my rosemary from last year. Really easy to plant, and it stays alive in the winter. Does really good if you're making pork tenderloin or steak or anything. That's one of the ones that made it through the winter, and then it looks like I have a couple carrots that are coming up. Today, I took myself to Lowe's, and I know a lot of people think about getting weed killer, but there are a lot of things that are going to be perennials and annuals that are going to come up again. Some things will surprise you, and you'll think that they're not going to come back up, but they will. So I cannot do the weed killer over here. I live in a townhouse and only have a little bit of an area. So last year when I started to really enjoy gardening, I put together this raised bed. So today I just want to show you a couple things that you guys can be doing right now as we prepare for the last frost. Ironically, last frost in Raleigh, North Carolina seems to be April 15th. Seems like it's pretty late with the time changing, early March and the other things, but there are a couple things that can make it this early on, but then you can also plant things indoors. So here is my raised bed, and I have already planted lettuce. I planted it about 10 days ago, and then I planted peas about 10 days ago. Peas, you can do sugar snap peas or regular peas, and my peas look like are hatching right about now, but they're going to take a little bit longer because they have to be 1.5 inches down. Lettuce is only going to be 1/4 of an inch. Recently in Raleigh, North Carolina, it has gotten pretty cold. I did put a frost blanket up on my mini greenhouse just to make sure that everything was okay, and it looks like I'm having a lot of lettuce sprouts, so I'm going to show you that. One other thing you guys could be doing right now is just researching. Over the past couple years, I've tried to figure out which ones I like in which months and which things aren't a good fit for me. For example, zucchini and squash, that's something you're going to have to plant early on. If you plant that towards August, September, you're going to get squash bugs because it's already hit 90 degrees. So just make sure that you're doing your research. And another thing that I do is you can get a planner, you can get a garden planner. They're not at Barnes & Noble's at the store. You're going to have to get it online, and I really like to see and touch things and see the whole thing before I buy it. So I just got a 2019 monthly planner. If you go in January or February, this is going to cost you $1 or $2. So I like to make a grid of what's going to be my layout. So that's some of the things I've been doing over the past week. So here is going to be my grid of what I've already planted right here in the raised bed. And then I have a grid for inside, and I have a grid for both sides of my garden, which I haven't planted much yet. So I break down my raised bed into 9 little spots. Here are just some of the things that I've planted through seed. I've planted rocket lettuce, spinach, regular lettuce, early peas, and then rosemary from the previous year. As you continue to garden and research, you'll see which plants are going to take up too much space and which ones you want to kind of spread out. Another example would be zucchini or summer squash or butternut squash. That's going to take up a huge amount, so you're going to need to place it next to something that's going to be small and sweet. For example, this is pretty small and it stays in its area. Rosemary is a good one to partner with when the ones that go out of control. Mint, I would put mint in a small pot, because that one is like a weed and it's going to grow like a weed and it's going to be everywhere. You're going to like it for a few weeks because you can put it in your water, but then after that it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be hard for you to know what is mint versus what is a weed versus what is something else. So just be mindful of mint. Basil is a nice one that stays centered as well. So I'll show you around right now some of the things that I've been doing. So one thing that I did is I weeded everything out. And trust me, 3 hours ago, it did not look like this. And I threw a lot of the weeds out. This right here, I cannot tell if it's a weed or if I planted an onion and it made it this winter. So hopefully in the next couple weeks, I'll be able to see that. But at this point, I'm not gonna remove it just in case it's onion. Here are a couple carrots that made it through the winter. Right here, this one right here, and this one right here. So I planted a couple carrots a couple weeks ago that will go here as well. Carrots are a root, so they're not gonna show for about 6 or 8 more weeks, and then it will just get bigger and bigger. This is another thing. I'm keeping this here. I believe this was peppers, and peppers is an annual. It shouldn't come back up, but again, sometimes they surprise you. One thing that I've done this winter and really enjoyed doing is putting together a compost. So today, when I planted a couple things, I've been able to use some of my compost. If you go pretty far down, there's going to be some worms and some bugs, and that is saying that you have good compost. So right here, you'll see some coffee grounds, some paper. So I will tell you guys a little bit more about compost, but you have to do a little bit of nitrogen, browns, and greens to get the best compost to fertilize here in a couple weeks. So here's just a little bit of what I have been doing. So these are going to be lettuce seedlings. It looks like I went a little happy, but that's kind of how it is in early spring. You get very excited. So I think there's 2 or 3 different types of lettuces here between sprout lettuce, rocket lettuce, spinach, and kale is also really easy to grow, but I do not have kale right here. Right here is going to be my peas in this little 1/9 of a corridor. I don't think I see any. Right there, that might be a pea. That I think is a weed. And I think that's gonna be a pea as well. See how you can kind of see the opening? There's a tiny one as well. So that one is growing. And one thing that I really enjoy, because I am a potter, I do pottery, is I like to label my plants. So here is lettuce, and then here is sweet peas. It's pretty hard to read, I know that. And then